Red-winged blackbirds, northern cardinals, and mourning doves are all birds you can commonly find in Wisconsin. They're also the titles of songs on Lifer, a new album by Madison-based band Quokka. Aaron Grych is the lead singer, producer, and songwriter for the indie rock band. He says the new album combines his love for birding and music, while also telling stories through a bird's eye view. Lake Effect's Grych Nunez speaks with Grych for this month's Chirp Chat.
For this episode of Chirp Chat, I thought it'd be great to highlight Quokka's new album titled Lifer, which is written entirely about Wisconsin birds. But before we dive in, I'd love to learn a little more about you as an artist. Who is Quokka?
So Quokka is a name that I started making music under probably about 6 or 7 years ago. Just classic bedroom producer, a Focusrite Scarlett in a dream sort of thing. And it's just slowly morphed into what was just a hobby on the side to have a creative outlet for something, to dispel ideas and feelings into a band that's now playing around. And it's fun to see the evolution of just making little tracks in my bedroom that I didn't think anyone was ever going to listen to actually being able to get a group of people together and play out live.
So, creating a project solely around birds isn't something you've done before. What inspired you to create this album, and why did you title it Lifer?
So I first got the idea for it, I think it was in twofold. A couple of years ago, I released my last album, Until the Tide Returns. And that was a pandemic album that was very much based, like every other pandemic album, around feelings of existentialism and dread. But I was thinking at the time that I was only really writing about myself and the things that I was feeling and those emotions. And I wanted to make something a little bit more unique than just the usual run of an album of whatever happens to be going on in a person's life at that point in time. I thought about what I could do to make it stand out a little bit more, to make it a little bit more unique and align it with the things that I love as well. And I was just making an instrumental one day, and I needed something before a progression change, just some sort of sound. And I thought, what if a loon call went in there? What would that sound like? And I put one in, and it sounded better than I thought it would. And that made me to think, can I connect these things that I love, birding and music, and make it into one product that is really a reflection of myself? It's both a deeper dive into that side of things, into the personal side of writing, but also something that's trying to capture interests of other people and feelings and experiences of other people as well. The name Lifer itself comes from the fact that I am a Wisconsin lifer, been here all my life, probably will be, and it's the name of the title that you get on the Merlin app when you see a new bird.
And I want to ask you a little bit more about that, the personal side of things. Like, what's your relationship to birds? Like, have you always admired them?
I was, like many other people, a pandemic birder. I got into it first because, like everybody else, you have a friend that says, hey, do you want to go outside and look at these? And the friend is actually the person who's done all my album art, a very talented watercolorist named Spencer Bierman. And his page, Birding for Your Convenience, first got me a little bit more interested, but started going out and going on more walks during that time and just getting out and trying to notice the world around me a little bit more, subvert my attention, try to pay more attention. That's really when it started to get to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could relate to your story, and I love the title Lifer.
Thank you.
And I want to point out that in each track in the album, it's named after a bird that you commonly find in Wisconsin. Why did you decide to write about these specific birds?
I chose the birds for the songs in the album because I wanted the bird calls that are looped into every instrumental. I wanted them to be ones that were at least somewhat recognizable, like the robin and the loon and the cardinal, to try and have a little bit more relatability to it. As well, there were other things I wanted to fit in there, like the noble flamingo, the unofficial city bird of Madison, the name of the soccer team there, and also the flamingos that washed up on Lake Michigan a few years back. But a flamingo call was not something that I would call recognizable, so I tried to keep it to a frame of knowledge that would be accessible.
Yeah, I really love the intentionality behind that. As a listener, when I was listening to the album, I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, you're just going to play the bird call. But I never thought about the accessibility side of things. So, with the album coming out soon, is there one track you're most excited for people to hear that we can listen to together?
Absolutely. I'd say that track is called Red Wing Blackbird. It was a single that we released before it that just has this great energy to it that we've been closing out all of our shows with, and that I'm really happy for people to hear.
All right, I'm excited. Let's listen.
Can I get some space? I just wanna crash on the couch now. It's been a hell of a day. Man, I just wanna plan. I just want a corner of this world. Is that too much to ask? So I'll play my cards, and I hope they'll win. And I'll bet my house on just one trick, and it won't be long till I find that spot I can live with, till I'm holding all in my hand, and it seems so hard, but I'll beat back the world's indifference, and I'll stop it in a song. But it's not like splintering with the hand on the branch. You're seeking out solid swooping ahead with a liquid mind and a busted head. Can I just pretend that I only said, hey, can I get some space? You know I don't need to be me, but I wanna feel safe. So please, don't ask me to cease. Don't ask me to work on the weekends. Don't ask me for peace. So I'll play my cards, I could say so, and I hope they'll win. I just say it. And I'll bet my house, if I could say so, on just one trick. And it won't be long till I find that spot I can live with, till I'm holding all in my hand, and it seems so hard, but I'll beat back the world's indifference, and I'll stop it in a song.
We just listened to Red Wing Blackbird by Quokka, and I'm Lake Effect's Grych Nunez speaking with Aaron Grych, the lead singer, producer, and songwriter for the Madison Band. So, something that I loved about this album is that each song is written through the perspective of the bird the track is named after. What was the songwriting process like for you?
Pretty much for all of them, it went in a similar direction, that I would start off with an instrumental that I found to be interesting, and then from there, just try to either fit in lyrics or see where the energy took me, see what kind of vibe I was getting from it, if it was something that was big and energetic and angry, or something that was a little bit more laid back, and just try to attach stories to it along the way.
And where were these stories coming from? Like right now we listened to Red Wing Blackbird. How did you know what to write for that bird's perspective? I think one of the lyrics is like crashing on the couch. Like Red Wing Blackbirds aren't crashing on the couch. So
Mhm.
can you explain that?
That and a lot of the other lyrics were trying to make bridges and parallels just between the different experiences that we share with other living things in the world. I love a red-winged blackbird. It's my favorite bird because for me it marks when spring, warm spring at least, starts to really kick in. But I know that it's not the most loved bird. It's kind of a jerk, I'll admit it. It's known for swooping at people and trying vigorously to protect whatever nest it may be in. And just thinking as a person growing up in this world and trying to find somewhere that you can call your own, that you can carve out for yourself, is a difficult process as well. And so I have a little bit more empathy now when I'm walking down the street and I'll hear a bird start to swoop at my head, just knowing that they're looking for a lot of the same things that we are.
I love that. And yeah, you got to fend for yourself. And I think of like the bad rep that maybe brown-headed cowbirds get too, right? So, how long did it take for you to write, record, and produce this album?
Way too long. Oh my God. Probably over the span of about a year and a half to 2 years, although an instrumental or two along the way is a little bit older than that even. The writing part was not the most difficult part. Spent a long time in the mix trying to get things right, but songs just kind of kept coming here and there. It was supposed to be a little 6-song EP. Then I had another idea, and it became 7, then it became 8, then it became 9, then it became 10. And I said, okay, whatever, I guess I'll do another album. So it was just letting those find me and allowing the process to be a little bit more drawn out to be able to encapsulate a full record.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I listened to some of your earlier projects, and I did notice how each album really had its own special vibe. How would you describe the sound of this new album?
This new album is guitar forward at its base. I think going back, I have ones that are a little bit more influenced. It's really just whatever I'm listening to at the time. And the last period was a lot of Fountains of Wayne, a lot of the band Liquid Mike, which I'm wearing a shirt of today from the UP. Things that are a little bit more power pop, guitar forward. So I had the ultimate intention, of course, of playing it all out live, which is not something that I've had in mind when creating other projects. So I wanted it to have the energy that you would want as an audience member to see for a band performing live.
Wow. Yeah. When I was listening to it, I kind of heard a bit of like car seat headrest.
Oh, thank you.
The Beths. And I also noticed the creativity behind making the Red Wing Blackbird song was more rockish and the loudest song on the album versus other songs like Morning Dove. Can you talk about why you decided to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really just whatever I thought best fit the story that I was trying to tell or the idea that I was trying to conjure up. I don't know about you, but for me, the sound of a morning dove is like early mornings going to school or like just a foggy morning in general. Things that are more quiet, more mellow, more laid back. And then other ones, for example, sandhill crane on there. It's a bird that finds itself in a whole lot of places. One of those places being West Africa. And there's a couple of bands in Madison, at least, that are from the Gambia or West Africa that play different types of music, like Mani Diabate and the Afro Funk Stars over there. And I wanted to encapsulate that portion of Wisconsin, too. It's not just all acoustic songs or rock music, but there's a lot of influences and people and sounds that come together.
Definitely. And what I also really enjoyed about each track that you mentioned too is how you subtly mix in these bird calls. So I'm really curious, how did you decide where and how to use the bird call in each song?
It was really just on a song-by-song basis. I didn't want it to be too much of the melody that it took up, because I have enough problems with getting 4 adults to get their schedules together for band practice. I can't get a bird in the mix, too. So it had to be things that were all right to be played without those in a live setting and still be able to keep the soul of the song there and to be mixed up in a variety that it wasn't just in the same place every time, that some of them were there to build energy, some of them were there to emphasize melody lines, that there was enough variance that it brought something else together, but that it could function without that as well.
And, not everyone who learns about this album will be a birder. So what do you hope people take away from listening to Lifer, or why should they tune in?
I would say the thing that I would want is just for people to listen. For one, to the album, because I like that. But for two, just in your everyday lives, as you're walking down the street, hearing something that you may recall then from listening to the project. Remembering to take moments out to realize that the cacophony that you hear is a bunch of various different birds and different calls and different songs, all with their own little lives that they're living. My one dream would be that if there's just like one person that listens to it and listen to the same song enough times to recognize that when they're walking down the street. People say like, oh, hey, I know that's a cardinal. That makes it all worth it.
That's amazing. And that's like honestly one of the best feelings, birding by ear. And I want to talk about the cover art for the album. You mentioned that a friend usually does the album covers. Can you describe what it looks like and where you got the idea for it?
Yeah, so the friend of mine, Spencer Bierman, is a very, very talented watercolor painter. And I remember seeing him do a watercolor of mushrooms in sort of a stained glass style. And we had been birding together one day about a year before that. I forget where, somewhere in one of the Dane County parks. And he took a picture of this beautiful northern meadowlark that was just about to take off. And I told him that I would love nothing more to use that picture that we took together in that same style. He did that in like 5 days, and I was not expecting that.
Wow.
But that became the idea for the single art as well, that it would be the image of the bird transposed in some other art form. The album art is stained glass pattern. One single is made to look like metallurgy, and another one is made to look stitched together, all in watercolor format.
And it's really beautiful, and I love the story behind it. Well, Aaron, before we wrap up, at the end of every Chirp Chat, I love for guests to shine a spotlight on a bird for the month. So I'm wondering, what's a bird you'd like to highlight this month?
So this month, I might just keep piling it on if nobody said red-winged blackbird already.
No one has.
I just love the little guys, and it's at that time of the year where I start to get a little bit annoyed with them. Like I mentioned, I love seeing them in early spring, but not so much now when they're doing their thing. So I'm going to give them this month to remember the good times with them when I was happier to see them.
Can you describe the bird for our listeners?
So it is a blackbird with a red wing that is most commonly found near water, and they nest quite a lot with quite a lot of other birds, and they're very territorial about those nests. So when people are walking around during nesting season, if anyone, any shape or size, person, dog, mail carrier, whatever, gets nearby, they're going to let you know about it. They might swoop at you, they might hit you, they might just yell. But they're a wonderfully, I think, a little bit misunderstood bird.
And I would agree with that. Well, Aaron, thanks so much for speaking with me today. It was really fun to learn about your new album, and I'm really excited for people to hear it.
Thank you. I'm really excited for people to hear it too. More than anything, I'm just happy to see birding become more and more mainstream with things like this, people like Christian Cooper and Dexter Patterson. It's beautiful to see more people get involved in it.
Like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Like the world is spinning round and I'm stuck on the ground and slowly drifting out.
Aaron Grych is the songwriter, producer, and lead singer for the Madison-based band Quokka. He spoke with Lake Effect's Excret Nunez for a monthly series we call Chirp Chat. Quokka's new album, Lifer, comes out this Friday. You can also see the band perform their new album on August 28th at the High Noon Saloon in Madison.
'Cause I got a million reasons and you got a funny way of keeping me close. But as long as I'm breathing, my heart's always gonna carry me